what recommendations do you have regarding a job search strategy for finding that first job? So between the time that you graduated and landing that first job, if you think about that time, what would you have done differently? What would you have done the same?
Well, an obvious benefit I would have the same as STC, because I learned the JH2 job through Misty on interviews and everything. Definitely make connections. LinkedIn has helped me so much. Get the former professors, classmates, potential employers. That's what I could say. What I've changed would be don't worry if you get like 5 rejections or 20. You'll get there eventually. Just don't worry about it too much.
It's just more practice.
Yeah, it's about practice.
Because a lot of the times you're fighting against the bots, right? Against if your resume has one wrong word or something, it doesn't get it to the hiring manager.
Which I think also just proves how important Sean's point is, that networking is.
Exactly.
Because I know from a manager I talked to, and my mom was an HR manager before she retired, is if you have someone who knows you, who vouches for you, a lot of times, even if it'll at least get your resume looked at or potentially get you an interview, because employers are counting on their employees as potential sources. Like, you know this person personally. We're going up against a resume and we're totally going in blind, but you know this person. And that can really make a difference, because at the very least, usually most places will at least interview you just to, out of courtesy to the current employee who recommended you. So it gives you that extra opportunity to, like Alex said, get over those bots, and to avoid that, to at least get that face-to-face interaction and give you that chance.
No, I definitely agree. Still going with it's who you know kind of thing you have going on. It's kind of weird when you're in school to think of like who you're in class with as like someone who in so many months is most likely going to be a kind of communicator in many different various positions. So kind of maybe realizing that earlier on, and maybe making just a couple more friends, just kind of hanging out a little bit longer. Just after class, how about? Because then that person will go from just being a student to being someone who actually would, like I'm saying, vouch for you, maybe get your resume a little bit further along past, the bots a little bit. Definitely people over bots, though.
So you're doing the right thing by being in this room, by networking at STC.
Yes, I probably would have been hired as soon as I have this job right now if it wasn't for my connections with STC.
Same. I think all of us.
Yeah, show of hands. Who got their job through STC contacts?
So actually, Alex told my boss about me. Funny story on mine. So my advice, kind of interview strategy, is be confident in your abilities. And I say this because I talked my way into my job. I did not know when I applied that it was a level 2 position, so someone with 3 to 5 years of experience, of which I had none. I did not know that. I thought it was a level 1, college new hire. But Alex had told our boss, hey, you should talk to this gal. I worked with her in STC. I think I was the newsletter by that time. I had been the mentoring program, so he's like, I've worked with this gal for like 2 years. You should talk to her. And she did. And she actually told me, this is how I found out about this a couple months ago, is she said, did you realize that job you applied for wasn't actually a level 1? And I was like, no, I did not. I knew there was some like hinky thing with something happened with the job and I got a rejection letter, but then they're like, no, actually we meant to offer you a job, you weren't supposed to get that. And I was like, I thought there was just like a computer glitch. She's like, no, you got rejected from that job and we opened one for you. And I was like, really? And she's like, and the reason she did it is she said, you came in, she's like, you had like no experience, my major wasn't even tech comm, but she said, you were confident in your skills, you were confident in who you were, and that's what sold it. is the fact that, because you know, and I think the question that did it was the dreaded, you know, you don't have that much experience, or what's your worst, you know the interview question that you're like, oh, I hate this question, that one. And you know, she brought it up, and she's like, I'm afraid you get bored doing this because most of your experience is creative writing, which it was. You know, don't you think you get bored doing this? You know, working in these deadlines, you know, working with these, you know, strict guidelines, you can't really do that. And I looked right at her, and I told her I disagreed. I thought she was wrong.
Great one.
She still hired me, so something worked. But politely. I said that politely, okay? I just like to clarify. And said I thought it was a different type of creativity. I said being able to work in these strict deadlines, these strict constraints, under budget, on time, but still making these books the best I can while working with all these constraints. I said it's just a different type of creativity, of which I have a lot of experience with. And so that's what I did, is I was confident. I said, you know what, I might not have ever worked on a book like this, I might have never used a guideline like this, I might have never done any of this, but I've done something similar. And I said, I know myself, I know my skills, I know what I'm capable of. And I believed that. And so you know what, it didn't matter that I didn't have professional experience, because I had experience. And I just had to tell them, oh, you don't realize it, but I actually do have this experience. It's just not how you would think about it.
Giving them a new perspective, a fresh eye. That's all you need.
You need to stop this Susan too.
Oh, my bad. Are you guys okay? I would also like to add to apply for everything and anything under the sun. You never know what you're gonna get. The person who sits right next to me. Yeah, the person who sits right next to me was an IT major, and he only wanted to code, but he just saw this listing for a technical writer, and he saw the technical part, and he applied for it. Now he's a technical writer. So it might not specifically say tech writer, but read through the description and do a little research and just give it a chance. You never know what you're gonna get. Like when you get to the interview, that's when you can like learn more about it and see if it fits for you. So when you're interviewing, it's not even like you want them, or no, you're not trying to only get them to want you. Like you have to see if it fits for you. You don't want to get hired, go through the whole process and be miserable. So when you like go through the interview process, make sure you ask the right question through your research of the job to make sure it's the fit for both person. But apply for everything, because the worst thing to say is no, but then you've got like 6 other interviews or 6 other like job opportunities that will open up like randomly. You won't even know. So I would just say, don't limit yourself to just the words technical writer, try editor, try writing anything. Try even just some
Social
coding.
media manager.
Social media manager. It even will give you experience and get you in the door. You might get there and you find that while you're in position, I don't know, social media manager, an opening in your own company opens for a tech writer, and just go ahead, walk right over, because now you have people who know you, you've already been accepted the job, they don't have to go through any like outside hiring. Just give everything a chance. You're young, you can do it.
And said tying onto that, like making sure to read the description. I know it sounds hokey, but please go into the interview knowing about this company. And I don't mean just like I know it. Have a question that is either specific to the job, and I mean like something written in the listing for it, not just how much money do I make, like that. Like very specific, either about the company, about its culture, its something like that, or very specific something written in the job offer or in the job posting. Because I can tell you, my mom, like her biggest thing when she was hiring was she would always be like, if they didn't even bother to learn about the job opportunity they were coming in and apply for, like you couldn't take 10 minutes to read this or do a search on this company, why should I take the time to interview you? And that's a very big thing, because yes, if you didn't bother to get this and you're just like, oh, I'm desperate, give me a job, it doesn't really work like that. But if, like she said, you want me, but I actually want you. And I don't just want a job, I want your job. And that makes a difference to managers, and they remember you for that. You're not just a person in a sea of interviews anymore. You are, oh, hi Amy, I remember you.
Yeah.
And also follow up. Track them down LinkedIn after your interview and thank them. I did that for my boss. I did it for both my interviewers. Found one of them, didn't find the other, but I managed to find one of them because again, they will remember you. They'll tie it, you know, if your picture's on your LinkedIn, if you thank them through LinkedIn, oh, that person. It just adds that extra connection and makes you stand out just a little more.
Makes sense. So, specific question for Alexandra. Your experience coming in through the contract world, how different was it than now being direct, and how can people find contract opportunities like that?
I got really lucky when I found mine because I didn't know it was a contract position. I just found a posting online on Indeed actually for a tech writing position. It was entry level. I figured I could do it, so I applied. And it wasn't until I actually did the phone interview that I realized it was Disney instead of tech writing. The tech writer is a contractor for them. And honestly, at least for that job, it wasn't really that different. Because I actually worked on location, like I do here at JHT. I work in their main office. I worked out at Epcot and Animal Kingdom when I was at Disney. So it was kind of like I was a cast member, but I just didn't have the like car badge. But they are definitely good ways to get into tech writing because a lot of them